NLP Anchoring. NLP Anchoring is a very powerful technique to help you get in the right state of mind at the right time. NLP Anchoring uses business, it's used in sport, it's used for anyone aiming to be in a specific state of mind at a specific time. So for example, you might use it to go into an interview, to be confident. You may use anchoring to deliver a presentation. You may use anchoring to prepare for a major sporting event. What is anchoring? Anchoring is an emotional stimulus attached to an event. So for example, if you listen to a song, it can take you back to a certain time in your life, a holiday, a vacation, a happy time, a time where you didn't feel so great. So various ways we are anchored as well. So you could be driving past your old school and it elicits or stirs up certain emotions, or you could be in an area and you feel a certain way. So we're anchored to various events and situations in our lives, but we're also anchored kinesthetically. When they did the Pavlov dog experiment years ago, what they would do is put some food out and they'd ring a bell. And what would happen, the dog would associate ringing the bell with the food. So every time the bell was rang, even without the food being there, it would come out to eat because it associated ringing the bell to the food. So we are anchored similarly as well. And we can also fabricate and work on our own anchors. Famously, you'll have seen people like the famous goal kicker, rugby goal kicker, one of the best of all time in English rugby, Johnny Wilkinson, put his hands together before a kick. Okay, that was his cue to be in the right state of mind at the right time. So I was in the game of rugby, high intensity, a lot of pressure, a lot of things going on, a lot of things in your mind. You've got a point where you need to kick the ball over the post from variable distances, and you've got all the pressure, everybody watching you, you're being bruised and battered along the way, but you've got to be able to focus and be in the right state of mind at the right time. So I think it's a very powerful thing to do that. I've used anchoring in my experience to help people in business, prepare for interviews, deliver presentations. In sport, I work with people in snooker, in darts, in rugby, cricket, even football, particularly in football. And the key areas in football, for example, delivering a free kick, taking a penalty. A good example is a footballer taking a penalty. 99 times out of 100 in training, they'll strike the ball and they'll score. In the event of a game, with all the pressure, we've seen some of the most talented footballers miss completely, because pressure is what we put upon ourselves. Okay, it's our interpretation of the event. So if you were taking a penalty for a World Cup final and you had all that pressure and you're thinking about the outcome and everything that went with it, there's a good chance that if you're not focused and you haven't got a specific mental preparation strategy, then it could become overwhelming. Where sometimes in sport and in life, you've got to put your hands up, you're beaten by someone on the day who's performed better or is in a higher level or more experience. Yet one of the worst things about sport is underperforming, when you know you can do something and you haven't done it because you haven't been prepared mentally. And anchoring is a perfect tool to help you get in the zone. Okay, and one of the ways to do that is identify the situation you want to have a specific resource. Say for example in football, taking a free kick. And I'm going to use a free kick as an example later on in the DVD. So we want a free kick and we want to be very confident and focused when we have that free kick. The resource we want is confidence. We want to check it's appropriate. We want to visualize and imagine having the resource and think, well, if I would have that resource at that time, is that the resource that's going to work? So for example, you might think, well, you need to be relaxed when you're taking that free kick, not too overly motivated or not too charged up. You've got to be calm and composed. You've got to check it's a specific resource you need for that time. Then what we do is we find a time in our life where we have the resource, preferably in the same situation as we want to recall the resource. So if you were very confident and scored free kicks in the past and you could tap into that mindset, that'd be great. If you haven't, then we can always transfer confidence from one area of your life to another. It's a transferable skill. So you can be confident doing one thing, you can be confident doing other things as well. Okay, we want to select the anchor we're going to use. I mentioned earlier, if you watch the rugby, we've seen various rugby kickers use various cues to get in the zone. We've seen them hands together, we've seen the recent World Cup, one rugby player put his arm up and back down again. So there are ways to get in the right state of mind at the right time. Some of the players I work with, I use the wristband, you get to flick their wristband. some of them thumb and finger together. But what we want to do is decide what's going to be our anchor. Let's say, for the benefit of the exercise, we decide it's going to be thumb and finger together. Okay, what we do now is we visualize the time. Okay, and we use our representational systems. And our representational systems are how we process information using our senses, predominantly see, hear and feel. So what you do, you go back to the time. And if you want to give the exercise a go, give it a go. Just close your eyes, relax and go back to a time when you felt extremely confident. And as soon as you begin to associate to that time, you press your anchor and you hold until you get to a level of 9 on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being high. And as soon as you get to about a 9-ish, you begin to release. That's probably about 3 to 5 seconds you're holding your anchor and you let go. And then you do that 2-3 times, and you can work on this as often as you like, and every time you do something well in your sport or in business, you can re-anchor it, and you can do what we call stack the anchor as well. So we can do that again. Select the anchor, thumb and finger, closing your eyes, go back to a time when you were supremely confident. Notice what you heard, what you felt, what it was like, where the feelings are, anything you heard, anything you saw, the colours around you. And as soon as you connect to that feeling, hold your anchor and hold it till, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being high, you're at 9, and you can gradually release. And that's how we start adapting our anchor. And then what we do, we test the anchor, we press it to see if we're building a neurological connection. And the more we do it, the more powerful it becomes. But it doesn't take a long time to actually develop an anchor. If you think, and it takes one song when you're on vacation for you to remember that location forever after. It doesn't take a long time. The emotional intensity is high. Okay, and the key is we can future pace as well. We can future pace one of two ways. We can do it using our mind. Imagine a time that we are going to need that resource. So in the example of the free kick in football, imagine a time that you're on the field about to take a free kick, where you are, the people around you, the team, the feelings that you have, and then you can press your anchor and that gets you back in the zone. Alternatively, what you can do to test it is maybe do the real thing. What we're going to do shortly is we're going to go out to a field and we're going to actually visualising taking a free kick in football. So first of all, what we want to do is place the ball on the floor. Having placed the ball on the floor, we can just visualise ourselves taking a free kick. And the way to do that is to just close our eyes, briefly relax, deep breath, and just seeing ourselves execute the technique exactly how we want to. So approaching the ball on an angle, foot alongside the ball, arms out for balance, choosing our target and keeping our head down, striking through the ball and hitting our target, which in this instance the target is going to be the crossbar.